Hey folks, Ilsa Cantier here. Okay, so today I want to come to you briefly to talk about overwhelm. Um, I think that's something that's super common with the people I work with, and it's super common to me. And so, for a lot of us, when we are embarking in a new project, up leveling, expanding in some ways, um, going through a transition of some sort, then our lives can feel very overwhelming and we can actually get paralyzed by overwhelm. So you'll see me look over here. I have some notes. I'm going to try to keep this under 20 minutes. Um, so I want to be decisive and not get all over the place. So as I started growing my own business, and especially over the last year, as things really started shifting and moving, that was one of the things that I dealt with the most was feeling overwhelmed. And for me, when I would get overwhelmed, it would almost feel like all my energy was drained out of me and I could not move forward. I didn't know what to do. I didn't have any confidence. I was exhausted. Like if I had to pick a word for overwhelm for me, it was exhausted. Like I needed to take a nap. And it took me a while actually to realize that I wasn't tired, that I didn't need a nap. I didn't need to eat something. I was just hitting resistance. I was feeling overwhelmed and my system was literally shutting down. So that's something that um, as I decided to be visible, as I decided to expand, I struggled with quite a bit. And I saw my client as they were up leveling, as they were growing, as they were stretching in their lives, in their relationships, in their health, in their business, and their visibility. I could also see them struggle quite a bit with that. So the bottom line is if you're growing or expanding in some ways, if you're transforming and stretching in some ways, you're going to get overwhelmed. That's just the nature of how we're built. We are literally built to stay comfortable and to stay within our little bubble and our kind of our box. The moment we start pushing the ceiling, pushing the envelope of that box, our system is essentially goes into, oh, something's wrong, danger, stay safe, stay comfortable, stay in your place. So the moment we up level in any ways, we will get overwhelmed. And if you have no overwhelm in your life, there's two reasons for that. First reason is congratulations, you've arrived. You've literally created exactly the life you want. And it's on automatic pilot. It's a well-oiled machine. And so there's no reason for you to be overwhelmed. You're used to your greatness. You're used to this life that you've created. And so your system is comfortable with it. And so you're not getting overwhelmed. And at which point, honestly, you don't need to keep watching this. The second reason you might not feel overwhelmed is you're coasting. You're settling. You're not stretching and you're probably not growing in some ways. So you might want to take a look at that. If in your life you're not overwhelmed, but you also don't have the life you want, then in some ways you've shut down and you are not moving forward or pushing yourself forward in the way that you could to create exactly the life, the business, the relationship that you desire. So why is it important for us to deal with the overwhelm? And by the way, I'm going to give you five steps to get through overwhelm and get back into action. But why is it important? I think it's important because when we do get overwhelmed, most of us get paralyzed. And so it literally, it breaks down creativity. It breaks down clarity. We have no way of seeing ourselves forward. We have no way of getting creative and finding creative ways to up level or to move forward in our lives. So that's one reason it's important to get through overwhelm. The other reason it's important to get overwhelmed is, in my opinion, in my experience, any action you take from a place of overwhelm will at best fall flat. It won't actually get you what you want. And at worst, it will backfire. It'll blow up in your face in some ways because it's out of alignment and it's coming from an energy that's either very heavy or very frantic and very anxious, which, as most of us know, if we try to do anything in our lives from a misaligned energy, then what we get is misaligned results. So that's why you want to be able to move through overwhelm, is because You want you don't want your actions to mean nothing, and you surely don't want them to backfire or to create something the exact opposite that you wanted. Hey, I'm seeing somebody say hi to me. Unfortunately, with StreamYard, unless you have actually signed up with StreamYard, I can't see your face, but I appreciate you being here. I love it when people talk to me. Give me a little heart. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know what you get most overwhelmed with. Um, okay, so I'm going to give you my five steps to move through overwhelm and really start creating what you want. The first step is to become it's still not showing your name for some reason. It still say, "Hey there, Ilsa, take two," but I don't actually know who you are. Either way, I really appreciate it. Maybe it takes a while for StreamYard to actually put you in the account. I'm not sure. Um, but thanks for being here. So the first step is you have to first become aware of what overwhelm feels like in your body. And it's a little different for everyone. As I stated earlier in our live, for me, it feels like exhaustion. For me, it feels um, like my energy has been drained out, like I'm feeling almost hopeless, helpless, and I just feel like going to bed. That's the way it feels like for me. And oftentimes, for a long time, I just thought I was tired. Hey, Monique, nice to see you here. Um, so for a long time, for me, it just felt like I was like I'd just done too much and I needed a nap. But then I would realize that the moment I stopped moving forward in whatever I was going to do, then my energy would come back up. So I realized it wasn't actually that I was tired or exhausted. It was that I was in resistance and I was feeling overwhelmed. For other people, the overwhelm feels more like a frantic energy, like anxiety, like moving everywhere, doing a ton of things, oftentimes doing a ton of things that will actually not get you anywhere, like cleaning your house or deciding now's the time to empty your fridge or whatever it may be. So the first step in this is you have to become aware of what happens in your body, what happens in your system when you get overwhelmed. What does that overwhelm resistance feels like? So that's number one. Get clear. And you might look at all the time that you essentially don't get where you want to go. What was the energy before that? How do you know that you feel overwhelmed? Um, the second step is once you realize, and this is why number one is so important, is because you can't realize that you're overwhelmed unless you're aware of it, and you can't do step two unless you realize that you're in overwhelm. So once you're like, oh, this is me being overwhelmed, then at that point, um, you literally have to pause. Oh, I'm overwhelmed. Pause, stop, take a breath, a few breaths. And essentially, your job at that point is to tell your system, because your system doesn't know that you're overwhelmed because you have no clarity or you don't know what to do next. Your system thinks that you're overwhelmed or that energy that's coming up is because you're in trouble in some ways. So the second step is to take a breath, stop trying to fix, figure out, get anywhere, and just come back to you. Take a few breaths and tell your system, hey, I'm okay. We're okay. It's cool. There's nothing to figure out, nothing to fix. We're not in trouble. We're safe. Right now, we're safe. And essentially allow your body and your nervous system to release and to relax a bit. Because what happens when you do that is the part of your brains that will actually allow you to think through and move forward um, will come back online, which will help you navigate what you need to do next. So that's step two. Step three is, and that's a little more detailed, is step three, once you've calmed down, is I want you to realize that it's not all of you that's overwhelmed. It's an aspect of you, it's part of you. I want you to realize in that moment that there's more to you than overwhelm. And this is the step where you actually get to connect. You get to connect with a part of you, call it your higher self, your soul self, something within you that just feels grounded, that knows that it's okay no matter what. Something within you that is wise and whole. Something within you that is essentially a peaceful, powerful presence, and it's deep. It's deep within you. It's not affected by your life. But the first step to doing that, to connecting to that energy of empowerment and peace and wisdom and wholeness, is to know that that overwhelm is just an aspect of you. So when you are in that place, it's like, oh, okay, I'm feeling overwhelmed. That's not all of me. Something in me is feeling small. Something in me is feeling like it can't do this. It doesn't know what to do. And I can actually go at that point. I don't want to touch my mic. I can then go at that point and literally put my hand on my chest and say, okay, we're okay. I can be here for you. And in that moment where I recognize that something in me is overwhelmed, I am no longer that overwhelmed one. I have literally stepped into my soul self. I have stepped into something in me that is whole, that is grounded, that is peaceful, and something in me that has the capacity to turn towards myself with love, with compassion, with wisdom, and hold myself. And that's the most important step here. Obviously, you need the other ones to get here, but it's extremely important to be able to actually take a pause and connect to that self and realize, oh, it's not all of me. I am more than this overwhelm. And then the moment you do that, and the moment you turn towards a part of you that feels too small to do this, then you're able to step into that next higher, most authentic self that you are. At that point, I want you to literally put a hand on your chest and validate the experience of the part of you that feels overwhelmed. Yep, there's a lot going on right now. Yep, this is scary. Yep, we don't know what the outcome's going to be. And give yourself some love, give yourself some compassion, give yourself some empathy, and validate your experience. Everything within us, everything that we are, wants to be validated. Something about the validation and something about stepping into this next phase of who you are, this higher, most enlightened, more authentic self, also allows the part of you that feels overwhelmed to realize it's not on its own. It doesn't have to figure out, and that's the truth. Most of the parts of us that are overwhelmed are actually not the parts of us that are going to figure how to get out of this, how to move forward. What moves forward, what figures out how to live our best life, is that authentic self, is that soul self, is that grounded, powerful, peaceful presence that is here at the depth of our own being. So that's step 3, is you want to be and connect to that higher self so you can support and show love and validation and compassion to the part of you that's struggling. The next step, step 4, is at that point you're ready to start moving forward. At that point, you want to ask yourself, what's one thing, one small thing, not a slew of shit, just one thing you could do that would get you out of this paralysis and that would allow you to move forward. Pick something simple, pick something easy and actionable that you can do right away. And make sure it feels authentic to you, it feels in integrity with you. And if it can feel good and be uplifting, that's even better. Your job essentially is, once you are grounded and anchored into that peaceful, powerful presence that you are at core, is to then take one small step to get you moving and to have a win. You want to have a win. When we are in that place of overwhelm, we want the next action to be easy, to feel good, and to feel like a win to us. And then I'm going to give you my last step, which, by the way, I forgot to write in there and I added after the fact. And that's something that I struggle to do in my own, is once you have taken that next action from that place of empowerment, from that place of groundedness, from that place of peace and certainty, then you want to celebrate. And part of the celebration is we literally have to rewire our brain to think of, when I get into action, I get a reward. And your brain will then start to allow you to get into easeful action. This isn't about being frantic. And I saw somebody say in the comments, yeah, with my ADD, for me, it's more frantic energy. I hear you. We're all different. For some people, it feels depressed. For some people, it feels anxious. For some people, it feels frantic and like all over the place. For some of us, it feels drained and down and heavy. Um, but yeah, you want to make sure that you are able to celebrate your win and that you essentially train your brain know that when I take action out of this place of peace, out of this place of groundedness, out of this place of empowerment, out of this place of authenticity and integrity and ease and effortlessness, I get a reward. What that reward is, I don't care. Dance, put some music, go for a walk, eat a cookie. Yeah, I know you're not a dog, but that's what I do. I eat a cookie or I eat something that I don't allow myself to eat too often. But do something that's going to feel good to you and feel like you're celebrating your win. Go to bed early with a good book. Yes, I'm a nerd. That would be the kind of thing I would do. Um, it doesn't actually matter. Do something that takes care of you and do something that sends you the message that taking action out of this place of peace, out of this place of groundedness, out of this place of authenticity brings rewards. And then you are in that energy. After that, you can keep taking action if you want. But essentially, the big trick with success is to actually decide to feel good and decide to move and take action from this place of being connected to our wisest, most whole self. And yeah, to just get in alignment. We can't take aligned action if we are not first in alignment. And we can't get results if we are not from or in that place of alignment. So that's my theme for today. Success is literally releasing that overwhelm and moving forward. Thanks you for all of you who wrote down the steps and were with me all the way through. That's really great. Thank you so much. Okay, bye guys.